it's always good to welcome in the good doctor, who today, I don't have the music from Surfside 6 in Miami Beach, that old show, because he is down in 81-degree Miami as we slog through fog at 37 in mid-Michigan. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Well, good morning to you, Dave, and hope you're doing okay. It's like you always do, you have a great show and a lot of activity coming up. Just hearing it sounds very interesting.
Well, we do, and I want to let people know about that, but also, I mean, every day we do the show, and here, and even during the pandemic, I say, is it only going to be about the pandemic? There's stories that come off of that, but, you try to live your life, and you try to have things as normal as can be, and you try to find upside, even after 7 months of, well, frankly, this. I think it's hard sometimes, but it's definitely possible. And I know that you've probed into the topic more than just a little bit, because you think it's not only possible, but it's crucial, isn't it?
Well, I really believe that, Dave. I believe that our goal is not to minimize the deaths or horrible impact of the pandemic.
Sure.
But I think we want to say that even in the midst of the most difficult times, flowers grow, humans can have some positive psychological consequences in a pandemic. It's really true. Possible outcomes, and I've seen some of these with people talking, just walking the regular road of life. One of them we're talking about is working from home. This offers to a type of freedom that can be exhilarating for many persons. It also eliminates the competition, distractions in the workplace. That's positive for many people. Also, there can be time for self-improvement and self-awareness that often is lacking or neglected in everyday life. Further, develop or return to a loving spousal relationship. Too often, couples lose their loving edge. They lose this. And one of the things about being together a lot, we certainly are aware of the problems that are occurring when people spend too much time, and it can be negative. However, there are many couples that are regaining their love, and they're learning how to really get along with each other better, because right now there is a diminish in the helter-skelter of everyday life right now when people are home. Another thing, we can reconnect with friendships from long ago on the phone, or phone apps that can be meaningful and rewarding with the extra time at home, too. I've done this myself, and some other people I know have done this. It also develops skill sets online that there never was time for. And then another very positive thing is to have better interaction with family, where children and parents and people living together, they can spend time together and they can start new positive lifetime memories. So there's really a lot of things. And then even on top of that, there can be more time to develop and implement an exercise program and a healthy diet. All these things can occur in a positive way when people are more quarantined or they're spending more time at home. Because most of what we've been hearing about with a lot of legitimacy has been the rise in anxiety, depression, child abuse, and all that is true. However, there are some positives in this, and I think we want to really remember that. There are people that are able to develop themselves and able to spend more time home, do things together, and it can be positive. Everything doesn't have to be negative.
What I have found, and this is purely anecdotal, but even online, where I have to spend a certain amount of time, as you know, with the program, you connect with other people, but you want to see what are the trends and ideas so that you can stay on the cutting edge. I've become very appreciative of people who've kept their sense of humor during the pandemic. And I don't mean by going out slamming everybody else or, the endless snark. I mean just a general sense of humor and wit, because some of us take advantage of that and kind of live vicariously through some other stuff that makes us laugh. It doesn't have to be endless cat or kitten or dog pics. Those are welcome too. I like them. But I mean, just a sense of humor is a reminder that, that kind of human connection. Do you think I'm off base there?
No, I don't. I think humor is always critical in the midst of any situation, good, bad, indifferent. Humor, being able to laugh, it brings out the best in people. It's very, very important, Dave. Yes, very good, important point. I would agree with you.
But I also see folks who, if they're interacting, it is kind of doom and gloom. And I wonder, if that's their every day, well, that would seem like a a dangerous thing. And you mentioned that you take time to interact and maybe catch up on some of those connections that are from the past. You never know, one of those connections you're making there might be critical for the other person involved. You don't know when you make it, but it might be. So why stop? Why slow down? Go ahead and do it.
Well, I agree with you, Dave. I've already looked up some old friends, and it's been nice to talk and communicate. And I think as we live a life, those are things we really ought to be doing. We ought not to have a pandemic to do this. I think we ought to every now and then look at our lives and look at, say, who are people that have been important in our life, who are people we remember, and just touch base. And I think now with this period of people having more time at home, it doesn't all have to be negative, and we don't have to all listen to all the negativity, because there's still millions and millions of people living a life, trying to live a life effectively. And even though we're taking more precautions, there's still no question there's a life to be led. Life is for the living. Life is for people that are doing things. And hey, this can be an exciting learning period of time, even if it's a difficult time for a lot of people. It's a time to, like you say, to laugh. It's time to cry. It's time to smile. It's time to, it's like the best of times, it's the worst of times. It's the old Dickens novel, from long ago.
Tale of Two Cities, right? Yeah.
That's right, Tale of the Beginning of a great 1845, I think. But this is a time to really, it can be a time to gain and to learn and move forward. And I think that what people do often, they can focus on the negative too much, and there is a lot of negative. But if we do that, it can overwhelm us. So I think the best thing is to be looking, how can we gain? How can we learn? How can we be better family members? How can we be a better parent? How can we be a better child? How can we be a better worker? How can we be just a better human being if we're
That's a great point you're making. I got to imagine that you have patients, Doc, who say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about X, Y, and Z? And I would think part of your answer is going to be, well, what are you going to do about you, as opposed to the thing you can't control? What are you going to do about your view of the world here, and how you're going to see it, how you're going to approach it, and how you're going to make it different, if indeed you want to make it different? That's about all. During something as huge as a global pandemic, that's about all you can do, isn't it?
Well, I think you're completely right, Dave. I think if we take precautions, we take reasonable risks, and we live a life. I mean, you can't just be a hermit living in your house, okay? I think you have to be out. You have to do things. You have to do things safely, okay? Let's look at it that way. If you take precautions that we know are the right thing to do, then you move forward. There are too many people very fearful. They stay in their house. They won't do this. They won't do that. And I'm not suggesting people start just doing anything and everything. I'm simply saying, with precautions, we can do things, and I encourage people. I say, yes, do things, get out, do things, but do them safely, because otherwise, just locking yourself in, doing nothing, that is a key for depression, anxiety, and conflicts with yourself and conflicts with others. Let's use this as a building time.
The good doctor joining us today from I'm in Studio B. You're in Studio C, which is just I think not too far from Miami Beach, where you'll be enjoying a couple days down there. If not, I knew you'd be back here for the football game, but you can't go, so you'll be able to watch. You'll be able to watch it and watch the Big Ten get back underway, and I know that will make you feel good, won't it? It will.
Well,
make me feel good.
I'm ready for football. I think it's good for people. I think sports are good for people, particularly in difficult times. And I think it'll be interesting to watch the Spartans out there again. We've been able to watch other teams, but we're Spartans, so we want to see what they're doing, and it's going to be fun, Dave. I think the way I look at life, last week, we were talking, and I said, this has been a great time lately, and it really has been, because I try to work with people, help people. But It's been exciting to watch how are people reacting, how are people learning, because we really do adapt. Humans do adapt, and I think we are doing that. A lot of difficulties, a lot of disagreements. That's fine. That's the human condition. We just want to be civil to some degree as much as we can, but difficult. uncivil time, and try to just do the right thing, be good citizens, be good people, but try to really, even in the midst of this, grow as a person, grow as a family, grow as a couple, grow as a human being, grow spiritually. Really use this period as a time to grow, because there is more time for reflection and more time for making us more effective people without so much of the helter-skelter that there really has been for many, many years. So use this as a recharging period as opposed to a fearful look at every negative kind of a thing. We really don't want to do that. This is a time we can grow and be more effective, better human beings.
Dr. John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services, they are in East Lansing. The podcast and many other platforms, videos, etc., are on drjohnb.com. Go and check it out. That doesn't cost a dime, and you can get help. Then you can contact them. Always good to talk to you. Stay safe. Be well.
Well, that is the plan, and same to you. And as Spock would say, live long and prosper. So listen, Dave, I'll talk to you later.
Hey, buddy. Spock got it right. That's for sure. Take care. We're back here shortly on the Morning Wake Up. Don't go away. 1320 WILS.